dokie. Let's see. Okay, great. We'll start. First, so, welcome, another Sunday workshop. We're going to look today at the Kumitachi forms, obviously solo. Ideally, I'm going to try and get through all of them, but we might just be totally pushed for time. So I'm not going to rush through them if we don't get through them. So we're going to look at them in order, and we'll just go as far as we can with them. Obviously, it's not a good idea to go straight into them, so we'll start with some suburi work, and then the two awase sets that we've got, go no awase and shichi no awase, and we'll just build up to them nice and slowly. So yeah, we'll get started. Nice and slow, we're not going to do a total warm-up, so just have the feet shoulder width apart, and just bringing the sole to the back, and just dropping through. So nice and relaxed. Nice, big movement. Don't hit the ceiling. Just find the back, drop it down. Find the back, drop it down. First thing really feel is the relationship with the body to the ground. So let the whole weight of the body sink down. And the feelings really want to draining down. So not of pushing the sword down, but just let the body drain through the ground. Through the ground. Just keep all the joint system nice and flexible. If you feel tension anywhere, just see if you can release it through the movement. Right up, right down. See if you can really establish. The second thing is really looking for a vertical through the whole body. So on the upswing and the down, really allow the sword to travel straight through the center axis of the body. Using the spine as a nice guide. Find the back, sink it through. The back, sink it through. Okay, keep going. Okay. That's it, great.
Sorry.
Good morning.
Morning. Morning.
Okay, good. Yeah, great. Good.
Yeah, it's good actually to use that. I sometimes do.
Okay, just watch one thing. When you do this about the weight in the body, just watch where you drop into the base. So this is really important when it comes to the Kumitachi. The main thing is weight of the body. So allowing the weight to drain fully down into the ground. Without that weight, it's just going to be in the arms. So it's going to be kind of pushing through into the arms. So what you want to do is always what we're trying to do is transfer the whole weight of the body through the weapon or drain it into the ground and out. So what I don't want to do is be hung up in the upper body. Especially notice this really starts in the feet. So just watch if I go to this position and then as I cut, I push into the front of the body and then I'm basically pushing into the toe section. So if you go down, you don't want to bend the knees over the knee and you don't want to press the weight so that it's leaning over the toe. You really want the weight to be settling into the back of the body, which in terms of the leg is going to be back into the heel. So just think where the leg connects to the heel, where the leg connects into the foot is the heel. That's where most of the weight's going to find itself down into the ground. So just be aware also as you raise. So the feeling is not to raise up in the front of the body, but to let the body sink and drain down. And then let it just settle into the heels. So just notice where the weight's hitting the foot as you go. If I hit into the toe, I'm going to start to cling into the ground. But if I go towards the heel, the weight can just settle and I can relax the foot into the floor. Just notice it and try both as well. Just notice what happens if you let the weight swing forward or if you let the weight drop into the toes or just let it drop straight down into the heel. Just play with it a little bit. That's it. And one will also allow the upper body really to just relax through the cut. That's it. There we go, great. There we go, there we go. That's it. Okay. Yeah, and then the next thing, if we go to the hip, what you want to avoid in this case is letting the hips kind of swing back. So you're in this kind of position. Then the hips doing something like this through the movement. This is kind of counterbalancing the body. What you want to do again, think the relationship's just down. So as you go down, the structure, and in order to go into the curve, I need to let the hips fold forwards. So let the hip, rather than stick out to the back or stay straight, something like this, where I'm basically falling backwards through the movement. Let the hips just fold forward, roll forward, and there's a real movement coming from the hip. So the hip's really going to do something like this, this, but it's not going to do it by sticking the butt out to the back or trying to keep the spine straight. Just see if you can basically commit into the strike. Let the hips fold. Yeah. That's it, that's it, that's it. That's it, there we go. Yeah. That's it. There we go, great. Nice, good. Okay, so we'll just come into this movement now, just finding the horizontal. So what you're going to do now is with the right hand, you're not going to grab the sword. So you're just going to place it on the sword this way. So it's just in this kind of position, very open. So you just go like this. This is the idea of this exercise is really to not allow the right hand to dominate the movement. So really finding the source of the movement in the left hand, right at the base of the sword, and just allow this hand to just relax on top of it. And you're just going to now let the sword settle here. Let the sword settle here. Settle there. And very, very light in the right hand. There. So no focus on it. Just there. Just let the left hand come down. That's it. That's it. Yeah. Okay, good. Just watch one point. Don't be too far up on the left hand. So you don't want to be in these kind of positions. If I'm in this kind of position, I start to hold it a bit like a hammer. So I'll start to kind of use it like a kind of hammer. What it lessens is my ability to really flex the wrist. So it will start later when I start to add a little bit of speed. It will start to make me a little bit immobile. So really feel that this hand's right at the base of the sword. So this allows me really to flex the wrist and affect the tip of the sword. The more I move up the sword with that hand, the less I'm able to really flex the wrist as you do it. So you want the left hand, the little finger of the left hand, really to be right on the end of the sword. You're in this kind of position. So just look as you go through this movement. The left hand should really settle onto it, and you want to really seal the grip as you come down now. So as you go down, seal that grip on. The right hand, keep it nice and loose still, but really feel that you seal the grip right at the end of the sword. There. There. Or from shoulder width, there. There. But really feel you're right on the end of the sword. You do it. Give it a try. That's it. The left hand's really free to flex also. It's really important. It's a bit more important later when we come to more complex movements or when we go to chain movements. The wrist has a kind of flexibility through it. Yeah, there we go. Great. There we go. Great. Nice. Great. And now just coming in, bringing the right hand into it. Just bring it down and just very, very lightly start to bring in the focus. So the left hand's going to do the same. It's just going to raise up, seal down, raise up, seal. And at the same time, as you seal the left hand, bring the right hand in. Bring the right hand in. Right hand comes in. So the right hand is just going to meet the focus with the left. There.
Good. Just slowly.
Yeah, just watch, again, the grip is really specific. So when you're doing this grip, what you want to do is really close from the rear. So you're doing something like this. So what you're doing is squeezing out this way, and it's coming from the underside of the arm. So this part of the arm is what really comes on. Like now, if I do something like this, then this is just going to tense this whole section of the arm, and it will travel up into the shoulder. So if I do something where I'm just trying to crush, so I'm trying to crush this, it will just go like here, and it will spread here. But what you're looking to do is really, it's the sense of squeezing, squeezing out, squeezing out. That action starts from the center, so it's not in the hand, it's actually from the center. So feel that that motion or that action is really going to come from here. This. So there's a squeezing down, squeezing down, squeezing down, and it's really going to come from the lower back, travel up into the body and through the shoulders, and then right into the underside of the arm, into the hand, into the hand. Just play a little bit with it. Also, just feel free, break the form up a little bit. Don't feel you need to raise it up. Just work on this idea of focus. Just focusing through the hands. So you've got the center, and you've got the two hands, and the bokken's right in between them. And it's going to be compressed down and out, down and out. But really feel you're working with this kind of motion. It's got a very, very light quality. It's got a really, it's not a kind of brittle power. It's a very kind of strong, supple power coming through the sword. That's it. Great, there we go. That's it. Good, good, good. Right. So we'll just go straight into the first suburi. So you're here, just rolling back, keeping all those points in mind, and feel free also swing through, just place, finish through. Either one that you do, the body's just going to do the same thing. So just allow the body to sink and settle, sink and settle. You feel really big, nice and grounded as you go through, meet the ground. There we go. That's it. That's it, great. There we go, very good. Yeah. Nice.
Hello. Sorry,
Hey,
mate.
good morning.
Good morning.
Good. Okay, and explore a little bit. I know we have a tendency in especially when we do the first suburi, to do it really in a Kihon way. So we're doing it in a way that's like 1, pause, 2, in. Just experiment a little bit. You can keep that level, or just experiment with this being one movement. So finding the back coming in. Nothing changes in the form. It's just that I don't stop at the back. So try and feel that what you're doing is something a little bit more dynamic. It's just one movement. Yeah. So the hips find the sword finds the back, and then.
Yeah.
Okay, the key thing now is really take a pause at the cut. So what you don't want to do is something like this. This is really a waste of time in the training, so really take your time with it. Find the cut there. Find the back cut. And really feel that all that mobility is going to come from the hip. So just feel that it's one movement now. Draw back, get in. Press it through. Yeah, there we go, there we go. Yeah, okay. Always two kinds of people, three kinds of people. The first set's like this, the easiest one's like this. So don't really find the back. So there's a feeling like this is a constricted movement. So it's like coming up to here, then it's get caught in the neck. And then basically every time the sword's caught in the front of the body. So really feel that when you do this, you're really going to release to the spine. Release to the spine. That moment of opening to the back is really to open the shoulders out. Okay, the other way is going the opposite way and kind of throwing the sword behind the back. So kind of doing something like this, which is really like somewhere that it's like throwing the sword behind the back. Really think that what you're trying to do is link to the spine. So you're trying to get the sword really anchored into the spine so that you can bring the body through. So you're trying to link it really, really, really into the back. That. So feel this is really like a kokyu movement. So I don't want to crunch the shoulders up at the top, and I don't want to throw the shoulders to the back. You want to just feel that the sword is linked to the spine and then comes in. Link to the spine, comes in. Link to the spine, comes in. So just feel you're kind of gluing the sword into the core of the body. And you maintain that feeling as you make the cut. So it doesn't go away. You're just trying to link it into the spine and the back, the kind of posterior chain of the body, and then send that forward through the extension. Yeah, there we go. There we go, there we go. Great. There we go. Good. Okay, we're going to skip right into number 5. So you're going to go from kamae. Yeah, just depending on your space, you can do 2, 3, 4 cuts. If you've got a really tight space, you can also do it on the spot, but just feel you're going to ground in. And now you go into yokominuchi. So just stepping through, cutting down. Take your time with it. If you've got space, you can rotate to the back. Cut in. Cut in. Just now looking for a yokominuchi. Through, 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 through the back. This is obviously the most used attack in the Kumitachi. So this is one of the basic building blocks for the attack side of the Kumitachi. You want a really clean yokominuchi cut. That's it. That's it. Right. Nice. Okay, good. So if you're thinking about what we go into with the Kumitachi are basically combat forms. So they're formalized and they're set, but they're basically looking at tactics in terms of combat. So what you want to do, the first thing you want to look at is a really connected body. So you don't want to be signaling massively as you go into these forms. Again, although the forms we can get away with a lot, but you feel that what you're doing is a really pure attack. So you've got an opportunity to come in and you just want to go and take it. So you want to, the first thing is really feel that this is one movement in. What you don't want to feel, again, it's part of the way we train the system a little bit as we start. We go like 1, 2, 1, 2. But really see that this is just one movement. So what you're looking for is something like that. Something like that. Something like that. So the cut is one thing. So it's not raise, stop, cut. It's really cut. So just feel that it's one movement. As you one step, one cut, basically. So even if you do it on the spot, 1 step, 1 cut, 1 step, 1 cut, 1 step, 1 cut. And the first thing isn't power, it's connection. Always connection works. So just see if you can get the rhythm in the feet, the hands, the sword, everything comes together. All the basic Chinese classic for this is one thing moves, everything moves. So the first thing to go, everything just goes with it and delivers the power. Yeah, that's it. That's it. There we go, good. There we go, nice. Nice, nice, nice. So in this one, we don't find the back. What you do is you use the right hand, and that crease of where the thumb is going to find the top of the head. So every time that hand, whichever side you go to, is going to find the top of the head. So you'll really come into this position. So this is my guideline for it. This makes sure the cut is centered onto the body. So what I don't want to do with the yokomanuchi is something like that, where it's basically orbiting the head, somewhere around this kind of region. And I don't want to go past that. So I don't want to go somewhere here, here. This is really too open. So again, think it's a practical attack. This is just doing what's necessary. So I come up, find that position and cut down. So every time it's like a magnet to the head. So it's going to go in every time, every time, every time, every time. So really feel that that's a very strong connection. And the key is again to get to the center of the body. And that again later is to make the cut centered on the axis, and later to really keep it weighted and consistent. That's also the other thing. That's it. Boom. That's it. So it's good. It's always going to go to the same spot. Boom. That's it. Great. Good, 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 good. Okay, great. Nice. We'll go to 7 and just look at a slightly different point. So with 7, you can do it a few ways. The easiest way is to start from left side. Just step in, cut, thrust in. Okay. The other way you can do it is just start from a right side posture and come to this position. Find the yokomen, come to here. But just play with this, working with 7. Do it as you like. If you've got the space, you can do the traditional form, which is to pull back, strike in, ski, and then continue with the motion. And then going through to the back, thrust, yokomen, ski. When you rotate to the back, shomen uchiba. Goes in, yokomen, ski. Just play with number 7. Again, this is the other kind of real basic form that we explore as an attack, especially in number 2 and number 4. So we use this as a nice pattern. You got yokomen and ski. Good. That's it. That's it. That's it. Nice, there we go. Okay, great. Yeah, the main thing for this suburi, really think how we're going to use it later. So how it's used later is basically after you've been received, your strike's been received here with a press or a block. And what you do is roll through it and press it through. Now, the key is that movement's done with the body. It's not something done with the arm. So just be careful of something like this, where it's basically being pressed out by the arm. So really feel again where the power is going to come from. It's going to come from my relationship to the ground, and in this case, really pressing a spiral through the motion. So really think that what you're doing is just pure motion. You're not trying to add power with the arms. So just think you're here, you're trying to really pass a movement right from the ground. So really explore, in this case, a really clear spiral from the ground. This comes in. And it's not that the arm doesn't extend, but it doesn't create the power, doesn't create the movement. So it's a nice big spiral from the ground. That's it. Yeah, great, good. Great. Very good. Nice. Great, we're going to skip right in. So we're going to go into awase. We're going to just make 2 attacks and two defenses. So in this case, you've got the person attacking forward. The only real difference between the attack in the awase is that you're coming off the line. So if you've got a very clear line in front of you, you're going to each time wedge the body off the line, wedge off the line, come into here. And now the receiving side, you're going to respond with your Kumitachi, you're going to go down the line. Down the line. Okay, so just do 2 each. Reset in between. Off the line. Off the line. Refine the line here. And then you go down the line again. 1, 2. And then reset. So you go 2 on, 2 off the line. Attacking forward and 2 on the line. Defending back. This way. Okay, give it a try. That's it. That's it. Good. Yeah, so just looking at the attacking side, really feel that you're pressing weight through the sword. So the main thing that we're looking at, especially when we go to this kind of partner work, is how to add weight. And that by adding weight from the body, you're going to add pressure into the cut, because the cut's going to have kind of heavy. And then the person's got really something to meet as they go in. If the cut's very light, they've got really nothing to work with. So what you're trying to do when you do the solo work is really develop a sense that as you go in, you've got a really weighted attack. So it's very, very heavy as it goes through. And again, it's not about pushing the sword out. This will actually lessen the power in the sword. So the more I push the sword out, you'll get momentum and you'll get all these kind of things, but you won't have a weight behind it. So it will just be very flimsy power. So really get a sense that you can do this very slow. Feel that it's very heavy. And that heaviness is going to come from the body hitting the ground. So really just look at this kind of sense of heavy through the cut. Heavy through the cut. Think the point of contact you would make. And you're going to go through it. You're going to go through it. And you're trying to direct the weight into the ground. Not throw it out into the sword in this case. Yeah. You want a really, really heavy body. That's it. Nice. Good. Okay, good. The receiving side, really focus on the hips, because you're going to hold the line. It's really an exercise in hip work and footwork as a consequence of that. But really the focus is on what you're doing with the hip. So what I can't do is something like that. Just like pull the foot back, because it won't have power into it, because the hip's not in the right place to receive the cut. So really feel that when you go back, you're actually initiating that with the hip. So as you go, really feel that the hip's really coming into position. So you roll through the hips, press the hip in, roll through the hip, press the hip in. So it's about solidifying the connection again with the ground through the hip into the sword. If it's just this, it has no power to it, so it has no density to it. So the cut itself will just either bounce away if someone's giving you an honest attack, or it will just kind of, I'll have to add power with the arms. And that's not really what you want to do. So feel that it's heavy, down, and the focus is what's happening again in the hip. Saito Sensei said this was like a hip, awase is a hip exercise or hip training exercise rather than a cutting exercise. So it's not really about the sword.
Michael,
Yeah, hello.
can you do that facing the camera?
Oh.
If you could do it a couple of times, that would be much appreciated.
This. This. See that? Got it?
Yeah, is that a yokomen? Is
Yeah, it's a yokomen. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not a shonen because if I do a shonen, it's like this.
Yeah.
And in this case, you're defending against a yokomenuchi, so you need to let the sword go through. Let the sword go through, and think that what you're doing is you're not connecting down the line. So with the sword, this is also this is an important point. When you receive, what you're not, if you do this in a solo way, what you're not going to do, my body's on the line, but my focus isn't on the line. So my focus isn't down the line. It's because that's not where my partner is. So your partner's attacking off the line. So when you go back, I hold the line with the body, but my cut is actually directed off the line in a wedge. So I'm trying to attack the person's center. So it's here, there. But my body stays on the line. It doesn't weave off the line in any way. Okay. So just imagine someone's actually attacking you with the yokomen. They're going to be wedging off to the side. So every time there's an angle.
all right.
Every time's an angle, but you're going to travel down the line. And that can only really be achieved with a yokomen because it means the hip's going to engage through the cut. That's it. That's it. There we go. Great. Okay, we're going to 7. So 7 starts in the left side. And this is a blend against number 7. So it's not the 7 awase in terms of numbers. It's a blend against the 7 suburi. So what you do from the left side for the attack is you strike in here. Now at this point the sword gets blocked and then pressed down. I'm in this position. And then from here you weave across the line onto the left side and thrust through. Okay. And then the receiving side is from the left. You create the hip in here, but I'm not cutting through to the center. I'm on the side of the body here. And then from here, I'm pressing through to open the body out. The other person receives that and comes through with a ski. And in this case, the ski goes through to the center line. Okay, so you've got, in this case, 1, 2, 3. And then coming back on the line. 1, 2, 3.
Just a little.
So again, the attacker weaves the line, weave the line, weave the line. Now the defender goes down the line. 1, 2, 3. Goes in here. Okay, give it a try. Yeah, and if you have any questions at all, just ask. That's good.
How you're starting that screen.
I don't know. Michael, can you do that again? We glitched a bit, so we lost you for about 20 seconds.
On this side. So I'll do the attacking side. You go from the left side, goes here. 1. The sword just gets stopped about here, and then it gets pressed down. 2. And then from here, I go underneath, thrust through. Okay, and then coming back, I go down the line, press the sword here, down, and then roll back with the ski. I'll do from this angle as well. So you can say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here's that.
Okay, thank you.
Good. You can also, if you want, try this as a partner, if you like. Might be a bit tricky.
Let me just watch you do it first from behind. No, do it behind me.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Good.
And then how do you go back?
I don't know.
Good. Okay, just take this a little bit more flowing now. What you want to feel is you're not only just passing off the line, you're actually weaving. So we use this idea of weaving down the line because that has this quality of really like snaking through to find the attack. So you're really trying to weave the hip through the line. So this becomes very clear when you're going to more your Aikai Kinonagari work. But just have the sense now that this is going to be like one thing. So if you've got this, as you receive the press through. So just do this now in 2 movements. And also the other side, also the same, you've got this. As you press down, feel that the sword's immediately going to come to the body. So you've got this. So I need to get the body right back as you go. So when you do it, just think about weaving through for your next attack. So it's really one attack, one. And this is really one kind of defense. One, goes a bit back. Here. So just play a little bit with it, a little bit more fluid. And again, the key is the hip work. It's not in the arms ever. It's never going to be in the arms. This will just split you. So really try and feel you whole. The whole movement's going to come from the body. 1, 2. Just play with it a little bit. So it really relies on a kind of mobility in the hips. And the feeling you want is really snaking through for the attack. Tricky. Yeah. Good. Good. Okay, so going awase is really an exercise. So every movement is basically a finish. So you're finishing on the left side and you're finishing on the right side. This is a cut to the center. We do it with distance so that it's safe, and then I can really practice the hip work. So when you do this in a partner work, what this gets a little bit confused sometimes, it's not blocking 1, 2, 3, and then finishing 4. In this case, this isn't the exercise. The exercise is really to go back. Every blend is a finish. So you're trying to get every time when you cut through. When you cut through. So it doesn't function as a block because the idea of the exercise again is really to train the hips to be powerful in terms of cutting through. And then when we go into the Kumitachi, we explore the blocks. So what we'll do now is shift the focus to a block and then really into a finishing cut. So we're just going to do 2 movements. This is the base for all the Kumitachi work. So you're in kamae the same way. We're not going to do the attacking side. Just imagine you've got 2 attacks coming to the side. So the first movement now, rather than stepping back and cutting, is blocking off the side of the body. So it's a different hip movement. You've got this quality now. So it's really wedging the body, receiving the attack. So just play a little bit with this. You're going to go back, wedge off the body. Go back, wedge off the body. So this is totally different from a feeling of cutting through from the gun awase. This is really a feeling of doing this with the body. So it's really blocking through. It needs to be a very dense, heavy block. So it goes there, just to that. So you've got a similar kind of work with the hips, but you've got a slightly different application now. So really feel you're receiving someone's attack. And this is where we do this in the Kumitachi because there's no time to cut through to finish, unless I make a kind of quick adaptation. So the idea with the block is that I don't have time to do anything else. So there's points in the Kumitachi where we're just forced to make a blocking movement because the attacking side's too fast to try and finish it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, and it's also now got a softness. So if you go to the striking thing, you've really got a sense of cutting through, impacting down. So there's a really fun of this kind of movement. Now, if you think of the difference between a striking movement and a receiving movement, they have totally different qualities. So I don't want to mix the qualities up in terms of the movement. So when you do the block, really feel that it's got a softer quality. What I'm trying to do is make contact with the sword and channel it down through the body. So I'm trying to dissipate the energy of the cut. With the cut, I'm just trying to cut through the person. So there's no idea of receiving at all. You're just going to slice through and cut the person. But when you receive, you're actually going to really try and channel the focus of the impact down through the cut, through the sword, through my sword. So it's received, and I try and receive it down into the ground. So it's got a different kind of quality. My intention is totally different with that. Yeah. So you want to really.
Michael,
Yeah. Hello.
the first movement, you know, when you're moving the bokken, when you move the
Yeah.
sword, is it almost like is it almost like you want to do a yokomen, or is it literally just up and then moving it so that you receive the block?
This is also confusion. So that movement of the yokomen, when you come through, that's to defend yourself. So when we do this advancing forward, that movement, that circular movement, that's to cover the body as you go through. So as I go forward, I'm trying to defend the body as I go through. Now I don't need to do that when I go back, because I'm not defending the body here and then coming back. So it's not this movement, it's just really that. So I only have time for that. I don't have time to do that. If I had time to do this, I wouldn't need to make the block, basically. That makes sense. So that movement of circuits, making a circle around the body for the attacking side, is to protect myself as I attack. Okay? Because if you think every attack has an opening to it. So if I was to come in like this, I'm just totally exposed as I go forward. So I need to, when I go forward, protect the body and then find the attack. When I go back, I'm already exposed. So there's already a target on the body. I don't need to try and protect that and then come to that position. This would be totally bizarre. So what you're doing is you've got an attack coming in. You just meet it like this. So pretty much the sword's doing this.
So it's just
That's something that's.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
autonomous attacking.
Where are we? Good. Okay. Yeah, good. Okay, we'll do the second move from here is just the finishing cut. So very similar. It's a similar dynamic to the first suburi, but it's in motion now. So you've got this first motion now going back, finding a block. Now as you go, you're going to release the cut and find the hips this way. So this is really a finishing cut now. Totally different intention again to the block. So you receive with the block and then press the hip in. So you're really cutting through now with the yokomen. Play with the footwork a little bit. When we do this in a basic way, what you do is really draw the body back. 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 Okay. If you've not got the space or you want to explore a little bit, you can do this pretty much on the spot, drawing the body back, hinging the hip in. Okay. The application of this is really to just cut the body in. So you're going to do something like that, straight in. So the aim is really just cut straight through the body. When we practice, we're really practicing with distance. And again, it's so that I can really focus on applying the hip through the cut. So also important with solo work. So you roll back, press back, apply the hip in. Keeping all that kind of heaviness training that we did right at the beginning. So just two movements, one block, one finish. That's it. There we go. Okay, yeah. So try it again. Find the focus in terms of the body, in terms of the handwork, isn't the power of the sword work. So the focus. I don't wait for here to feel that this is powerful. So it's not something like this block and then and then bam. Then I kind of power it on through this. Think the actual power is in the motion itself. So your relationship to the ground, how you're transmitting the hips through the hands. That's the power of the movement. It's not going to be at the last 2 seconds and boom, that power comes on here. So really feel again what you're doing is exploring your relationship to the ground. The power's coming on now through. So the cut should have a kind of density all the way through. So you want weight, pressing through the sword. And it's not about the kind of snap. This will totally disrupt the body because you're basically working in the upper body. So really feel it again, tying it to the back and the ground. Back. But really feel that movement's really strongly, powerfully coming from the back and the ground. You've got this kind of expression. Again, you're trying to express the power of the ground through the hands. That's it. Gonna be heavy in the hips. That's it, that's it, that's it. There we go. There we go. Okay, good. So we'll do now a blend with number 7 as well. So it's 5. We're working now blocks, but it's the pattern from Gon awase and Shichi no awase. So you start, I'll show it a few times, you start in right side. The first movement's the same as we've just done, blocking to the back. Now, rather than finish at this point, you're going to receive the cut, press down, and then here you've got the ski coming in from the 7th awase. So pressing back, and this time you're going to find a block. So they're all going to be blocks now here, and then the last one's a finish here. So I show a few times, just the backwards roll. Start right side, you block, press, block, finish. Okay. So it's really moving back now. So you've got now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with the finish. Let's take it nice and calm. Again, it's really focusing on the hip work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Especially now, what you can focus on is a nice calm quality through the feet. So because we're working solo, no real pressure. Just look at the balance, how you're peeling the feet back through the movements. There. That's it. This one's the real base for all of the Kumitachi. So apart from the kind of very first movements, these exceptional movements, this is really kind of the base for most of them. That's it. Yeah. Okay, the new movement now is this block from here. So you've got this movement. Now, what you need to do is get a sense that you're coiling across and blocking. So you're trying to, if you imagine you've got a thrust coming towards the body this way. So it's going to come around and into the body. So what I need to do from that position is coil the hip this way. So your movement's like this. So again, it's not going to come from the arms. This is a really weak block, and I will totally miss the sword probably. So what you need to do is get a sense that the sword comes from underneath. Comes from underneath. That. It's going to be a very sharp movement, so I need that to come on very quickly. There. So it's really a coil in the hip coming back. It's really all you've got time for. All I've got time to do is coil the hip. So it's a real kind of minimal movement, but with lots of power if it comes from the hip. Yeah. That's it. That's it. There we go. Yeah, this is a really key point. When you do this movement, think about spirals. So this is, it's very easy for these movements to become linear. So you've got a movement like this linear, and you've got a movement like this linear, and this linear. So basically the sword's working in a straight line. feel all the time what we're trying to do is express spirals through the body. So what you've got is in a case when you've got these movements, spiral through the hip, spiral through the hip, spiral through the hip. So the sword's always going to travel in spirals, spirals, but it's not going to go in a way kind of straight line kind of way. It's too crude in a way. So you want something a little bit more sophisticated coming from the hip. So just play a little bit with pressing through spirals. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Great. Yeah. Great. Okie dokie. Good. So this forms really the base, the kind of blueprint for all the Kumitachi work. So all of them follow this kind of similar pattern and way of using the body. So the key thing is this distinction between blocking movements and finishing movements. So when to block and when to finish. And obviously all the Kumitachi end with the finishing cut. And all the other movements are going to be blocking movements or variations on it, depending on which form we do. So we'll explore next into the first forms of the Kumitachi. So we'll take a quick break, 2 minutes, and then we'll go on. So we'll just bow out quick. Hi, domo, arigato gozaimasu. Great, take a quick break. We'll try and start 10-ish, somewhere around there.